is this. Look at the FBI papers on infiltration and investigation of the Moorish Science Temple, and then answer your own question. See, truth is uncomfortable, Dr. Naila, and I understand that it is.
Somebody wants to know how do we correct it if we filled out the census.
Well, it's called rebuttal.
Rebuttal?
Rescission of signature and rebuttal. Now, isn't it back to learning to write writs?
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Isn't it back to us being active on a political, civic platform? Why is the question asked? Because it is already known that we have no civic platform to make a response or rebut anything. Then we keep signing things, putting ourselves in a hole with no ladder. Well, hell, I was digging this hole for 5 years, and we've been digging this hole forever. And everybody else out there, they're having fun. When you're digging the hole, did you take a ladder down there with you? Well, no, nobody told us. Well, didn't common sense kind of tell you when you dig a hole and dig it over your head, you're going to have difficulty getting out? See, we keep digging holes with no shelf, with no ladders. That's what our problem is, which means we keep signing stuff without understanding contract law. We keep signing instruments without doing research on what that instrument really is. We keep assuming these people are our government when they're a private foreign corporation under occupational international law.
I'm not sure what pay-per-claim means by this, but if they're talking about with regard to the census or just in general, is there a way to correct my ignorance?
Study. That's why we do what we do here at the House of Reawakening Minds, to try to help in mitigating this corrupt condition that exists amongst our people and that has promoted and institutionalized the mental servitude and slavery and peonage that exists in our community. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is what's going to reverse this. When you gain knowledge, you will stop supporting things that injure you. When you gain knowledge, you'll stop sticking your finger in the furnace and saying, how do we stick our finger in the furnace without getting burned? By not sticking your finger in the furnace. How do we stop being surety for the debt of the foreign United States corporation company, and our communities keep getting gentrified and they keep stealing our inheritances from our grandmother, and the state always takes it under wardship tenure? Stop saying that you're a U.S. citizen, none of which you ever were. Stop volunteering into BS. How come we keep stinking? Because you keep volunteering to be bullshit.
This paper claim says, sure wish I would have had this info months ago. I'm over here signing away like a jackass. Oh, the shame.
All of us.
I don't know. So do you contact the Census Bureau and say, I want to
see this? What on such and such? Now, even what they do to you for something that's minor, as a record of your phone calls on the phones that people have every day, they got a record of your location, the duration of your conversations, who you talk to, and even the pop-up ads that came up on your phone. So here comes this pale-faced European, and then some persons calling themselves Negroes that come up on your step, knock on your door, and ask you to tell them who's in the house, what their ages is, male or female, and sometimes a little bit more information, and you start running your mouth. And what you did, just volunteer yourself as stock. And didn't know it because you don't know what a census is, which means you don't sign stuff you don't know. Anything that you sign, quote, everybody listening, please, 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 please. Anything or any instrumentality that you place your autograph on in law all over the world is known as a negotiable instrument. Negotiable instruments can be monetized. Translation, bond. Bond, debt. What else we need to talk about? It's a benefit. Why do you think they spend so much time trying to get you to sign their beneficiary papers? It benefits them.
That's right.
It ain't going to benefit you, I guarantee you that. You must sign this. The law says you must sign yourself as surety to back the United States corporation debt that's registered in Austria that went bankrupt again.
Somebody was asking, and I think I went over it, but they basically were asking, should they protect they have an invention, and I guess they're wanting to know if they should go through the United States.
Are we back to jurisdiction?
Yeah, how they should.
Yeah, but I'm just.
A couple people say trust, put it in your trust.
Well, that's how long we've been telling people that. Yeah. Let's go back to this now. Let's go back to this. What they just said, right? Now look at this. Number 14. This is the Senate document 43, 73rd Congress, first session. You own no property under the United States democracy. Slaves cannot own property. Read carefully the deed to the property that you have been duped into thinking is yours. You will note that you are listed as a tenant on the misrepresented documents. Senate document 43, 73rd Congress, first session. You need to know something else? Do you understand what I'm saying, Dr. Naila? We do things by the day, and the simple things that are documented, our people aren't even made aware of. Then we constantly become victims. Then we want to march all over the place like fools and talk about prejudice. Please support the House of Reawakening Minds. Give with Dr. Naila, and those of you, you can send for the flash drives. And what we're going to do, we're going to put this on the flash drive too, and make sure it's updated. And there you go. And get grounded. Yeah, it's like, this is like an educational horror story with our people. That these things, these are things, Dr. Naila, is it not true? These are things our people deal with every day in their everyday lives and don't even know the foundation of it.
Because these things aren't taught. And then...
Well, good. If they're so spiritual, look at this. Our people always talking about, spiritual and shit. And I was praying, I was talking to the Lord yesterday. I mean, y'all got all this going on. How's this stuff slip? How does stuff keep slipping past you? You march all over the place all the daggone time. Raise thousands of fiat and funds, following behind people marching all over the place, asking for a remedy, asking to be recognized, and don't even look at the foundations of the rules of order that you're acting in. Get screwed, get taken advantage of, and then rather than looking at the fraud of it, talk about this racism and prejudice, I want to be a part of this and part of that. And then you sell on yourself or volunteering yourself into a jurisdiction in which you do not belong. And then getting upset about the consequence. What we're sharing here is documented, commonly known information among other people. It just hasn't been shared with people who are designated as dead, called Black people and people of color. Why? Because they're not national. So international law and international information is not shared with them because they themselves are the stock. And nobody wants to tell them to the face, you're the stock, you're the surety. We're trying to interrupt these servitude operations that have been inculcated and operative on our land for a couple hundred years. It must be ended, but you can't keep volunteering into servitude and wanting the benefit of allodial activity. They don't go together. They're opposites. You know better, you do better. Now, in reference to those who happen to read the letter, civil orders from Pope Francis to Barack H. Obama, 2014-2015, here we have the Elements of Ecclesiastical Law, Volume 1, Sections 53 to 54, quote unquote, the Pope of Rome can abolish any law in the United States. Why? Because the corporation belongs to the Pope. And so while our people are sitting around talking about, well, for the country, I'm serving my country, signing the census. You just agreed to be their stock. Now you're complaining because you're being abused. Well, what do you think they claimed ownership for? That's unum sanctum. That's unum sanctum operations. Well, nobody told us. They told you about Jesus and stuff. They told you about the Romans murdering him. How come they didn't tell you this? That the people with hair like lamb's wool, skin like burnished brass, copper-colored people, was being lynched by Romans. Duh. It's sometimes you must imagine how some people look at the people here for the sake or in consideration of some things that are so obvious before even a child have been and are being ignored by adults who are suffering severely, and their families are being destroyed. Their relationships, personal relationships, are dead and being destroyed. And members of the Roman Curia under the foreign military operations called the IRS are robbing them by the day. And they're talking about filling out a census to agree to it. Then asking, well, how do we stop getting screwed? How about first removing the screw, then the screwdriver? Like, duh. We're interesting. Very interesting. Let me give you all another one. Number 17. And this is Pedalford, Fay and Company versus the mayor and aldermen of the city of Savannah, Georgia. And this is 438-520. And this is a court decision. You cannot use the United States Constitution to defend yourself because you're not a party to it. So what happens when these people keep going around talking about their constitutional rights? And then they keep getting screwed. And they're not a part. Was no Negroes, no part of no United States Constitution. Moors were, because it came from an honestly Confederation law that you call Iroquois. And it is a designation under treaty operations, whereas it is the foundation for equity and operations for trade and limited jurisdictional operations of foreign Europeans operating at Morocco, i.e. North America. It's an instrument that limits their delegated powers of operation, doesn't give any rights to any damn body. However, in harmony with their constitution, they're obligated to the treaties, which is the supreme law of the land. How come they don't tell you that? Because that's exactly what that means. That means if you're not a party of treaties and international law, you can't use no constitution. That's why they don't have rights, because they keep claiming to be black. Ain't no such people and no such nation made any treaties or international law anywhere on planet Earth, nor some nation with some green or purple flag talking about people of color. Get over the ego and start dealing with intelligence. Honor your mothers and fathers. They are the ones who set up the laws. Then you can enforce the laws of the land. It's called Aboriginal title. It's not opinion, it's a fact. Don't get mad, get wise. Don't get emotional, get wiser.
Here's a question that says, when, wait a minute, it disappeared. It's moving so fast. Listening conversation on phrases. Who grants?
We'll give you another one. Number 16, Treaty of Versailles, July 16, 1782. Treaty of Peace, 8th Statute, Section 80. The King of England financially backed both sides of the American Revolutionary War. Did you know that? Did they tell you that in school? Then you wonder why your ass is being kicked now. Ask them people that marching you around talking about Black Lives Matter to tell you this. And tell you that not only are you they're wasting your time, they're misdirecting you and putting you in harm's way.
They was asked, how do you buy a house with an allodial title, using the allodial title?
All right. Now, it's called putting in things in context. So if it's an allodial title, what are you buying? And does an allodial right require buying any damn thing? You see how things are put together when people really don't understand? And I accept the question because it's valid. But this is back to day one. You know how like a lot of times when we're talking, Dr. Natalie, and we redundantly go over certain things, and then a year later we'll do the same thing again under another title to come at another angle to tell them, because the truth don't change. The concept hasn't arrived on us. You pay under feudal law. On allodial law or right, it's an inheritance. Inheritance is not taxable. You don't buy your inheritance. And you don't sell it. It is even understanding what you're talking about. But it's not a condemnation. Is people don't even understand. Do you But please, you all, go over some of these things that we're telling you and do some reference research. And get with Dr. Naila, and help yourself. Just help yourself, please. Because we can share. We can't make you know. You have to be interested enough in your liberation to do the work and the research that goes along with it, and taking the responsibility and participate in the activities that are necessary on a civic forum to bring remedy to your problems for lack of a state and for the restoration of your estates, and even knowing what your estate is and that you even have one. Because you do, but you didn't know.
I just put a suggestion for you all to check out. I know a lot of you know Karimio. I don't know how to say his whole appellation, but it's Karimio, AHAU on YouTube. He does a lot of historical research. He's like a Dane Calloway on steroids.
Good.
His stuff is 1, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours long. He's got like volumes and volumes of research. So,
and even those who look at Dane, if they just look at some, the information that he's sharing.
Right.
They would recognize that their concept of how to look at things, that they ain't supposed to be signing no damn census. This is, Dr. Naila, this is where our people really don't know what diversity of nationality is. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know its function. Put it this way. You know how like some people can have, you know how many Moors going to the Moorish Science Temple got nationalized and don't understand status and a state goes with it? And if you ask them to start talking about a prayer or belief or chapter of the Quran or the Bible and be totally off the mark of a state. And if you talk a state, they think that you're talking against their religion. And it is no different than our current conversation where people are, this is what's happening. And this is constant, even with a lot of questions coming, because they're valid questions. However, people are asking estate questions and not understanding estate. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're talking about buying.
Like once you claim your property.
It doesn't happen like that.
How do you keep with the Lodi?
Now,
how do you keep the colonizers off?
So now, aren't you going back to treaty? Aren't you going back to estate and trust? See, the way they've been doing it, now let's go back to our earlier conversation. How have they been stealing or cheating our people's estates? Misclassifying our people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then claiming them as U.S. citizens, and our people think it means a benefit. They don't know it means stock. Then making a bond on them, selling it on the world market as a derivative, and you are now the surety for any debts that they create. That's exactly what that is. That's not an opinion. That's exactly what's going on. Then if it's questioned, not unlike like you were saying, Lamont was telling you, the magistrate said, you volunteered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But let's look at our people always talking about they're so spiritual. And you give them basic facts that a child could understand without, if they didn't have an agenda, and adults have the most difficult time to rationalize. It's really interesting. Meaning that if you put before a child, the average child, right, different colors as in a palette of primary colors and things like that, or say little blocks, one with a letter on it and one with say objects on it, like a boat or a car. Even though children may say humorous things, they usually can make the distinction. It's interesting that adults have problems with that, even knowing the difference between buying or owning and a tenant. Allodial and feudal, which are opposites. And it takes place every day in all your affairs. Do you understand where I'm coming from with that? That the difficulty for them to know better.
Well, we come to the end of the road.
Anyway, so you get with Dr. G.
Don't everybody send me no request for that right away.
No, not right away. It'll be
thingy. No, look, because
explain yourself, because I know they're gonna beat you up.
No, because you Gracie, you putting that on me. We have to figure out how to get it
because
from that paper.
It's like this.
Do not.
Yes. This is later. Say next month. Give us time.
When it's available, I will make the announcement.
Yes.
Do not email me for that. I will let you know.
Yeah.
Please.
But anyway, get grounded in because this is basic. Listen, this is basic third grade civic knowledge. Truthfully. And definitely elementary and junior high school knowledge. Not college, not university, elementary school level knowledge to show you how far you have been deliberately, not accidentally, kicked behind the 8 ball. Some of the stuff may be revolutionary, or a great revolution or revelation to some of you. This is basic civics. We need to get over our egos and accept that we've been cheated, because we have.